Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 221, The Grapes of Wrath, a drama history film from 1940. And this has an 8.1 on 78,784 votes. So the spoiler-free synopsis, the Joad clan, introduced to the world by John Steinbeck's iconic novel, is looking for a better life in California. After their drought-ridden farm is seized by the bank, the family, led by just-paroled son Tom, loads up a truck and heads west. On the road, beset by hardships, the Joads meet dozens of other families making the same trek and holding on to the same dream. Once in California, however, the Joads soon realize that the promised land isn't quite what they hoped.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is directed by John Ford. He's done other movies like Stagecoach, How Green Was My Valley, and The Searchers. And it stars Henry Fonda, Jane Darwell, and John Carradine.
So, Rotten Tomatoes, the average rating is a 9 from the 44 critics that did it, but all of them gave it a positive review. So it's got 100% on there. And then Metacritic, it's got a 95. So it's almost perfect.
It's pretty good.
According to critics.
According to the critics.
So, we only have the two fresh. Otis Ferguson. Movies will probably go on improving and broadening themselves, but in any event, The Grapes of Wrath is the most mature picture story that has ever been made in feeling, in purpose, and in the use of the medium.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's mature.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I will give it that.
Whittaker Chambers. I really liked this one. I actually read this one. The Grapes of Wrath is possibly the best picture ever made from a so-so book.
Now that I agree with. I do.
I thought it was funny. I actually did not get to finish the book because my loan ran out before I finished it.
Oh,
I had 3 chapters.
That's okay.
I had 3 chapters left.
That's probably a good thing you didn't finish the book.
So the consensus, a potent drama that is as socially important today as when it was made, The Grapes of Wrath is affecting, moving, and deservedly considered an American classic. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't entirely agree, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't really agree too much, but yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. So the budget was $800,000. It didn't make the money back. It only made $55,000 in the U.S. And that's all the money.
Wow.
Yeah. So the awards, it did win 2 Oscars, and then it had 9 other wins and 5 nominations besides those awards that it did win. So the 2 Oscars that it won, Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Jane Darwell, and then Best Director, John Ford. Blue Ribbon Awards, it won the Best Foreign Language Film, so my guess is that's a foreign awards. National Board of Reviews won Best Film, Top 10 Films, Best Acting, Jane Darwell again. That's the mom.
Yes, that's my Joad.
Best Acting, Henry Fonda for The Return of Jesse James.
Maybe this and that.
Yeah, my guess is he won it for both of them. It is in the National Film Registry from the National Film Preservation Board. So we will forever have this movie.
Okay.
Forever. New York Film Critics Circle Award, Best Film and Best Director. Online Film and Television Association, it is in the Hall of Fame.
Nice. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can. It's like, Jane Darwell is going to be in another movie we're going to watch.
Oh, is she?
I recognized her. I was like, wait a minute. I know you from a different film. And then I'm like, wait a minute. She was in Gone with the Wind.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see our actress Jane Darwell again in Gone with the Wind. She has a smaller part in Gone with the Wind, but I recognized her.
Gotcha. So, initial thoughts.
Ugh.
That explains it. The whole thing.
Ugh. Okay. Well, I remember watching part of it in high school, and I really didn't like it. And then I finally watched the whole thing, and I was just like, when is this going to end? I felt like it just dragged on. But that's just me. I just felt like it was just, some of the pacing was just too slow. It kind of focused too much on certain things and not on others. I know it left some things out from the book, so.
Yeah, I did leave a few things out of the book.
We'll get to that.
I put some stars next to some stuff that it left out or changed. But I hadn't read the whole thing when I watched it. It was funny. It was going like right along for the most part, right, with the book, and then I got to the part where I hadn't finished reading yet.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't as far as I was now when I watched it. I got a little bit farther after I watched it, and I pretty much got to the end of the movie in the book. Is where I got.
Yeah.
So I literally missed whatever is in the book that is not in the movie.
I'll tell you when we compare.
But, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. There was some things that were good, and I will say it is a good adaptation of a book that's really hard to read. Like, I had to force myself to read this book.
I had to force myself to read it, too, in high school. I was just I was like, why? This is one of the most depressing books I've ever read in my life.
See, yours wasn't a choice. You were required to read it. Mine was a choice. Because I'm crazy.
Because you are crazy. You are.
Because I have to read everything.
Because it's you, Kat.
I do. I have to read it all. But I didn't really like it. I didn't really hate it. It's just kind of there. I probably will never watch it again.
I won't either.
But, I mean, it's not horrible.
Meh.
It's just kind of in the middle for me.
Yeah. It's on the lower side of the middle for me, but yeah.
All right. I think that's all for our thoughts.
I think so.
Okay.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So, I mean, if you've read the book, then it pretty much starts out the same way as it does
in the book.
In the movie, in the book, it starts the same way.
Yeah.
So, you see the man, like, he's walking around in the street, and he comes to, like, this little convenience store type thingy, and he's asking for a ride from the truck driver. And the truck driver gets all mad. He's like, you see this sign?
He's like, I can't take anybody with me.
Yeah. And, Tom, we learn that his name is Tom a little bit later. He is saying, well, that's a sign from your boss. That's not a sign from you. So why don't you do what you want to do? And the guy gives him a ride. But he's like, well, you need to hide down behind the door first. And then when you can get in the truck later.
Yeah.
Then they're, like, talking as they're driving along. And the truck driver's asking Tom, like, what he's been doing and where he's from, and Tom gets all upset because he's like, why are you so curious about me? What do you want to know? Like, I was in jail for killing somebody.
It's like, yeah, he says at the very end after he drops him, he's like, yeah, I was in jail for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's killed somebody. He's going back home.
Mm-hmm. And so he drops him off, and then he's walking again, and then you see a man sitting under a tree, and he looks like a real crazy man. And he's actually kind of how I envisioned him in the book. Mm-hmm. Just kind of this, like, lanky, crazy-looking guy.
Yeah, that's how he is. That's how Jim Casey is. That's his name, by the way.
He did a really good job. The actor did a really good job with it.
Well, John Carradine's a good actor.
Yeah. I think he did a really good job with this role. So we find out that this is he used to be a preacher. He's not the preacher anymore. So they're talking, and he's asking Tom where he's been, and He's like, you didn't know? And he's like, well, I've just kind of been out and about, not really knowing anything.
Kind of wandering.
Yeah.
Like, I like this guy.
And so Tom asks him to come with him, and they go to Tom's family home. But there's nobody there.
Yeah, and it looks kind of abandoned.
Yeah. And, so he's thinking, like, oh, man, what happened to my family? What's going on? All this and that and all craziness. And then this guy, Muley,
Yeah.
comes across them, and he says that everybody is going to California. Literally everyone. Except for him. Everyone else is going to California.
Yeah, and his family, which was Tom's family, said they went over to his Uncle John's farm.
Yeah. Because they're getting ready to leave because their Uncle John... Because they've basically been evicted at this point. Their Uncle John is about to get evicted.
Yes, they've been forced off because this is the Great Depression time, and so the banks and everything are failing, and, the farms suffer for that.
Yeah. So the banks have to take over the farms because they need to make money.
Yes.
And then the families are like, well, this is my home.
It's like we've been here for, generations.
Yeah. Then you see what happens to Muley, like what happened to him. And it's basically that he got kicked off his land, and he's like, I don't want to go. Like, I'm not leaving this. I live here. This is mine. And the tractor, runs over his house.
Yeah, it just pushes it down. Like, okay.
Yeah. And it's a little bit later at night when he gets done with his story, and so it's dark. There's a car that comes up to the house, and they go hide in the cotton or whatever.
Yeah, they're looking to see if there's anybody trespassing.
Yeah. Well, they're specifically also looking for Muley because they know he's trespassing.
Well, yeah.
He's always trespassing.
Always.
So they're specifically looking for him, and then they're also looking for other people. And then they kind of just cut away from them, and it's the next day. And they're coming up to
his Uncle John's farm.
And Mom is outside doing something, I think. I think she's outside. Or she's cooking dinner by the door. One of the two. She's doing something. And she's the first one to see Tom.
Yes.
And she's like, oh my God, is this a joke? Like, are you for real here? Did you escape? Like, what happened?
Because he was originally supposed to be in jail for, 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
But he got out early because was it good behavior or something?
Yeah. Because he didn't fight anybody or act like a fool, I guess. So they're all getting ready and packing up, and at this point he knows, what's happening.
Yeah.
So he helps them.
Yeah, they're all going to California because there's supposedly work out there.
Yeah, because they have
opportunities. Yeah.
What they keep calling it something. It's a specific word they keep calling it. It's not a flyer because I don't think that word...
Like a pamphlet or something. Or
something like that. But they're all packing up, and Grandpa doesn't want to go anymore. He wanted to go, but now he doesn't want to go.
He's like, nope. None of that. And then there's more family that comes too. They got a big truck.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of people going. Okay. You see, was it
well, there's Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa.
Then the uncle. And then Tom. And then Tom has a brother whose name is Noah.
And then Al is another brother. And then there's two little ones, Ruthie and Wilford. Something
like that.
And then Rosa, Sharon, and Connie, and the preacher. That's 13 people.
It's a lot of people trying to pack all of their crap into this rickety-ass truck. And, packing all your crap in there and having to put a bunch of people on this. It's like...
So it was really funny, the way it was described in the book, I imagined that it was a slug bug-sized car.
Yeah.
And they cut the top off of the car and put some wheels, flipped it over, put some wheels on it, and hooked it to the back of the slug bug. And I was like, what in the world do these people think they're doing? And then I see the car in the movie, and I'm like, that makes more sense.
You're like, that's a better just thing there. Yeah. So you know it. You find out that was it Rosa Sharon?
Yes.
She's pregnant.
Which she does not look pregnant throughout this entire movie.
No, she doesn't. I'm like,
just stick a pillow up there.
Like, where's this baby hiding?
But yeah. So, Grandpa's still throwing fit. He doesn't want to go. So they drug him.
Yeah, they have to drug him. They sedate him and kind of just put him in the truck and like, all right, we're going.
Yep. So they do invite the preacher along to come with them.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't really know what he's going to do.
He's like, I'm just hanging out, wandering. Why not? Let's go. I'll go to California.
Yeah, for real. It's just like, whatever.
It's like, all
I
right.
got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Pretty much what
He's like,
said.
I'm bored. Why not?
So they're driving along, and they stop at like a little campsite type thing, but they find out that Grandpa has died.
Kind of had a stroke.
Yeah.
That's what they say. And they bury him in like this random freaking
Yes. And they leave a note in a bottle because they don't want people to find him and think that he was murdered and then go looking for who murdered him.
Yeah.
They're like, he died of a stroke. That's it.
That's it. On our way to California.
Yep. So they're camping with some people, and this one guy's like telling them, like, don't go to California. It's a waste of your time. You're just going to starve out there.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one along the way that tells them that.
No. But they keep going.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I wrote this down. In South Park actually references this movie in one of their episodes.
Does it?
Yes. This scene actually is in it, in the South Park episode where, like, you know, there's people, like, they're talking about heading west and everything. And, well, in the South Park episode, they're going west to get more internet, not jobs.
That's kind of
But
funny.
they do reference this. It's like black and white, and it's just like this exact same scene, and I just started laughing my ass off when this scene came up in the movie. I'm like, hey, South Park referenced this. Ha!
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was like, huh, see? South Park guys they know their movies.
The next part is they've continued on.
Yes.
They're like, forget this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And they stop at this gas station / truck stop / like diner thingy.
Yeah.
And they go in and they're asking for bread, saying that they only have 10 cents to spend on bread. And she's like, well, we ain't got 10-cent bread. I'm like, I want some 10-cent bread because it is like $2 now.
Yeah.
But so the cook is the husband of the lady that's like the server lady. They own the little shop. And he's saying just give him the bread for 10 cents. Like, give him the whole loaf, even though it's 15-cent bread. Give him the loaf. And she's like, well, we're going to run out. And I was like, so what? We'll run out.
Yeah.
And then the kids are looking at this candy, and they're like getting ready to leave, and they're like eyeing this candy, so excited about it. And he's like, are those 2 for 1 candies, or 1 cent candies? And she goes, no, those are 2 for 1. And so he buys the candy and he buys the bread. So total of 11 cents.
Yeah.
He gets a loaf of bread and 2 big, huge, like, candy cane things.
Yeah, for 11
I'm
cents.
Like, I can't get anything for 11 cents.
Yeah. Inflation.
Yeah.
I was like, and the people in the diners are like, that wasn't 2 for 1 candy. Those are like 5-cent candies.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, so you're just being kind.
Yeah.
Aww.
So they leave and they pay extra to make up for the money that she just lost on those people.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, but
I mean,
meh.
When you're poor, you're poor, and sometimes other people make up for it. Sometimes people don't.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're going on, and they stop. They get stopped at like the Arizona-California border, and they're getting inspected. Or no, this is at some other border. They're getting an inspection done.
Yeah, but that's later. Because they're crossing. Remember they go swimming
Oh, yeah, they're
swimming.
In the river.
Yep.
I forgot.
Swimming and everything, and then they know that grandma's sick at this point.
Yeah.
She's mostly lonely, because,
yeah.
her husband just died on the way there, so I can see that. That just, I was like, that part hit home, I'm not gonna lie, that really hurt. I was like, ouch. Ouch. Yeah. That was a personal connection there with me.
Yeah.
I was like, my grandmother was the same way. Yeah. And then the pit stop is where they get
stopped for an inspection.
Yeah.
They're seeing if they have any plants.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense because they don't want people coming in from out of state trying to make their own way. They want them to go work for the people that are already making their own way.
Yeah, and it's funny. I remember that when I went to Hawaii, that anytime you go over seas or a different country. I know when I went to Hawaii, they asked us, they're like, you're not allowed to bring any like fruits or plants or anything into the different environment because it can cause some like chaos or something like that.
Yeah, because it can cause different diseases. Like people have diseases that can sometimes spread to animals.
Yeah.
Different plant species have different diseases that can spread to, like, conifers can spread diseases to tropical plants that would destroy them. So that's probably, what they were thinking.
Yeah.
That.
I think so. So it's funny, never mentions this, ever again in the movie, but, Noah's no longer with them after, they're swimming.
Yeah, they don't mention what happens to Noah.
No, at all. I'm like, okay, we're just missing a random person in the thing. Alrighty then.
Yeah, he just kind of disappears. But he didn't have much much anyways.
Well, I'll tell when we can do a comparison
in
the book.
They do explain it in the book. But so they're coming across, and they go across the desert. Mm-hmm. And Mama is sitting in the back with Grandma, and she's patting her head, saying, "We just got to get through. We just got to get through." And she looks real sick. What do you think?
Well, you think she looks really, really bad. And then they're having some little car problems, and they're in California finally. Mm-hmm. And then they find out that Grandma had died.
Yep.
At the pit stop, right before the pit stop.
Yeah, they come in to the pit stop, and everybody gets out there all excited because they see the orchards and all the places that they could possibly work. They're getting all excited, and they call Mama over, and they're like, "Well, bring Grandma too," and they're like, "Grandma's dead."
She's just dead.
She just says it. There's no emotion to it all. Grandma's dead.
It's she's been dead. We just needed to get her
through into California.
Yeah, so there we go. She's in California. We can, bury her in California.
Yeah.
So we've lost 2 grandparents on this trip.
Yep.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, really? So people just keep dying.
Yeah. So they're in this little town, and they're stopped at the gas station to get some gas, and the guy's like, "Well, there's no work here. You need to go south."
Yeah.
So they are heading south, and they come across a campsite.
It's full of people.
Yeah. It's kind of there's places where, even now, there's places where the homeless gather, and they've got all their tents and everything, and it's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought of, too, when
They stop there, and they're, getting their food ready, and these kids are, standing there staring at them because they are so hungry.
They're just staring at the food. They're like, "We want food, too." Mm-hmm. And, Ma's like, "Oh, gosh, there's all these hungry children around. What do I do?"
And Tom's like, "Get out of here. Go on. We don't want you." And I mean, it makes sense because he has to worry about his family. He can't worry about feeding these other people. And his mom's like...
She's just conflicted.
"Oh my God, these children need to eat."
So she feeds her family first, and then she tells the kid, she's like, "Okay, if you could find something small, I'll give you the rest of it." And they just book it and find something.
Yep.
They pretty much go crazy over just the little scraps of food left.
She just lets them. She doesn't divvy it up. She just lets them have at it. 'Cause she's not about to fight that battle.
She's like, "Oh hell no."
Then there's a man that comes up offering work.
And he doesn't say what he's going to pay them, anything.
He doesn't really give any details.
No, at all.
And there's a guy that speaks up and is like, well, you need to tell us this. Like, where's your permit to give us work and all this and that? Because you have to have the permit to be able to hire people for work for whatever you're hiring for. So that way you can tell them how much, what they're doing, how many hours, like all this and that. Like, all the specifics that he will not give. So they get into a little trouble here.
Yeah. And there's a cop that shows up too. The cop's there too. And the fight breaks out. And what was it? Connie. That's the one who he punches a cop.
Yeah.
He runs for it. He runs away. And there's was it the cop shooting?
Yeah, the cop is shooting, and he shoots at he's shooting at a guy, Connie. Yeah. And he's shooting at him, but he misses and shoots this woman.
Random woman just there. She's just minding her own business, just walking in this camp. She gets shot.
So she's gonna die.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Jim's Jim's been there with them the whole entire time.
Yeah.
And he covers. He's like, it's good. I'll go.
Yeah.
He's like, it was me. They're like, okay, whatever.
So he goes with the cops. Tom is hiding because they think that Tom did it.
Tom's on parole, so
Yeah.
he's trying not to get in trouble, too.
Yeah. So they think that it was him because he was standing next to the cop when Connie hit him. And, so he goes hiding. Connie has run off.
Yep.
And Jim is going to jail. Pretty much.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, you know what? Let's just get out of here. It's a mess.
Yep. So they leave the camp. And, Connie is gone. Like, he's not coming back.
Nope, he's gone.
So Rosa Sharon is upset.
A pregnant, upset woman.
Yeah. It's a great mix.
Definitely.
But then, everyone is leaving the camp. Not just them. All kinds of people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when that bad stuff happens,
Yeah.
you don't want to be there either.
Skedaddle. Get out of here.
It's scattered.
So then they're, driving around, and they come across this mob, and the mob is like, we don't want you here. You need to turn around and go the other way.
Their prejudice, what I wrote, is their prejudice against Okies, because the Joad family is from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. But they don't call just the people from Oklahoma Okies. They call anyone coming to California to work Okies.
And not everyone's from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know. But, so the mob tells them to turn around. So they turn and go.
Driving along. And says that they have to stop because their tire is flat.
Yeah, that's what it is. I was like, what does that say?
Yeah, their tire is flat, and then there's this person driving by.
Yeah.
And says that there's work for peaches. Was it
Picking peaches, 5 cents.
5 cents a box or something?
Yeah, 5 cents a box down the street. You go this way, and then you go this way, and you should be there.
Yeah. Everyone's got to work, too.
Yeah.
And, they go, and they're given, this run-as down place to live in.
Yeah.
Even the kids have to work. So it's not just the adults.
Not saying that it is the same thing, but it looks like the layout of the house thingies look like the houses that you see in pictures of concentration camps. Not comparing the two, just saying that the layouts of, the grounds of the houses look the same.
I can see that.
And they shoved way more people in concentration camps, and concentration camps were horrible.
Yeah.
But, that's a good image comparison.
Yeah.
Of the two.
I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
But there's, all kinds of cops and stuff when they come across, they're getting closer to the place where they're going to work. There's, all kinds of cops and lots of people. And then you find out later that all these people are protesting, and the cops are, keeping them away.
It's a strike.
Yeah.
That's why they were able to get work.
Yeah, because all these people are protesting and striking against working at this place.
So, in the sense, the Joad family are a bunch of scabs now.
Yeah. So they go And they do their day's work, their half day's work, and they get enough to eat dinner.
Get meat.
Yeah.
Yay,
actual meat and food and something good to eat. And they eat their dinner, and then Tom goes to investigate, and this is where he finds out that it's a strike.
Yes.
And he runs into the preacher again, Jim Casey. He runs into him again.
And Jim's hanging out with a bunch of the other people that are striking.
Yeah, and the cops and the farm workers all think that, like the farm owners, all think that Casey is the spokesperson because he talks the most.
Yeah. I mean, Jim doesn't know how to quit talking, so I can see that.
So they're talking to them, and then they hear a noise outside, and so they all go get quiet and everything, and then they start running off, and these guys are chasing them, and one of them kills Casey.
Yeah.
And so Tom gets pissed and attacks the guy that killed him.
He literally just, like, beats this guy to death.
Yeah. And so now he has to be worried.
Yeah.
He gets hit across the face pretty friggin' hard.
He's got a good, like, he has to get, like, some stitches. It's like a nice...
right across his cheekbone.
Yeah.
So it's all swollen, and it looks like he has, like, a metal bar in his cheekbone, because it's, like, super swollen around it. It's weird looking.
Yeah, so he's having to hide out in their tiny little house. His mom's hiding him out. Mm-hmm. He wants to leave, but his mother, of course, she gave him a huge guilt trip.
Yeah.
Huge guilt trip. She's like, no, you need to stay.
Yeah. And also, now that the strikers are gone, the wages have gone down to 2.5 cents a bucket of peaches. So the Joads are like, all right, we're out of here. We're not doing this.
It's like they're gonna leave and everything. So they leave and they find this other camp. I wrote is the farm workers patch wheat camp.
Yeah, and it's run by the Department of Agriculture.
Yes. So
it's a government camp.
It's like they go there. It's like super nice and clean, and
it's really funny.
It's like a super nice place. I'm like, what the hell?
I wrote this down because I thought it was funny. There's the little water spigot, and there's a sign that says "Turn off the water." Yes. There's a lady doing something with the water, and she walks up and leaves the water on. And I'm like, you didn't follow the rules.
It's like, I guess you didn't read that, or you can't read. I don't know.
Something. But it doesn't matter because one of them. Somebody walks up right after she leaves and does something and then turns the water off. So
yeah, and they get work too, also to help pay to be able to live in that camp for a while.
They do get a little bit of work, and it's kind of cool. This camp, they do on Saturday nights. They do dances.
Yes,
so it's kind of like an entertainment thing for these people who don't really have a lot going for them right now.
Yeah, which is nice. I'm like, that's a nice thing to put on, just a simple little dance.
Yeah. So then they hear from their boss that there's gonna be a fight at the dance.
Because people cannot come into the camp without a warrant or some just cause. Because
it's a government camp, the local officials can't go in there.
Yes.
So... They're trying to find the people, and then they find the people they think are going to do it, and they stop them. And the cops come up to the front gate. They're like, we hear there's a riot. And the guy's like, there's no riot
There's
here.
nothing going on. There's nice dancing going on. People are having a good time.
Yeah. And so the cops get all upset and huff and puff and turn around and go away.
Yeah.
And then it looks like they're, like, getting ready to pack up because at this point they don't have work anymore. Like, their job is done. And Tom is leaving.
Tom's going to leave because he sees people checking out the truck and everything, and he's afraid that they're going to find out about what happened in the other place.
So he goes on the run.
Yeah, he has this nice conversation with his mom before he leaves. It's actually one of the pretty famous speeches from this film. I do know this one.
I didn't write it down, but I
there's a lot of some really good dialogue in this scene.
Yeah, I didn't write it down because I was like, this is all really good, and I'm like, it's just too long to write down.
Yes, I will give this scene some credits. It was a good scene, very good acting between Ma and Tom.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that.
But so they're gonna go.
Because Tom's like, well, he's like, I need to leave, but maybe I can go leave and maybe improve things.
Yeah, and help people.
Yeah.
Help everybody that has been migrating to California. He wants to go help them figure out what they need to do. So Tom does leave, and then the Joads are like packing up, and they leave the camp, and they're heading to Fresno.
Fresno, yes. And there's this big old caravan of cars, and there's Ma Joad's talking in the car. It's like, this is actually another famous speech.
Yeah.
It's the very end of the movie. And this is how it ends, really, with her.
And she's basically saying that they can't be beat. They're gonna stick it out. They're gonna do it.
Yes.
They're gonna find a better life here.
Yes. And that's the end of the movie, pretty much.
Yep. And so the music was by Alfred Newman. He was born in 1901. He died in 1970. He's known for All About Eve from 1950, How the West Was Won from 1962. His music is used in V for Vendetta, which is on our list from 2005. And I think one of the last things he did was Airport.
I know All About Eve is on our list. V for Vendetta is...
I don't think How the West Was Won is.
I don't think so.
That's
a good movie, though. It's Western.
Alfred Newman has won 9 Oscars. First one was for Camelot in not his first one. His first one was Alexander's Ragtime Band, 1938. Tin Pan Alley from 1940. The Song of Bernadette, 1943. Mother Wore Tights from 1947. With a Song in My Heart, 1952. Call Me Madame from 1953. Love is a Many Splendored Thing, 1955. The King and I, 1956. And Camelot, 1967. So I actually know the Love is a Many Splendored Thing song because it was in Bones. It was really funny because it was an episode where everybody was like getting inspired to say, it wasn't a musical episode, but they were like they were doing something with a musician, and so they were all some of them were trying to prove they could sing. So Zach, he's like this really weird guy, and he's the intern, and he sung that song, and so I know that song.
I was like, well, technically he must have done like either extra music for some of these, or like arranged them, because Camelot is not originally by him.
Yeah, Camelot, he won that.
Or
some of them he won for arranging them. Yeah. Some of them he won for writing them. Yeah, as I know, Camelot and The King and I, he didn't write those. I think he arranged those.
As The King and I is a Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yeah,
and Camelot is a Lerner and Loewe.
Yeah.
So,
but a few of them were his actual compositions, and then some of them were his orchestration and arranging.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, couple of the songs is Red River Valley.
That's an old song.
It's played during the opening credits, and it's used quite often throughout the movie. Tisket a Tasket.
That's an old song, too.
It's just background music in the first scene. Going Down the Road Feeling Bad. She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't know that song? And that is played at the dance. And that's pretty much all I got on the music.
It was really good music for the most part. I would give it that.
Yeah.
I will. It wasn't like obnoxious. It was nice background music. It fit with the scenes pretty well. And
I think it was good for the period. Like, this is kind of almost... It's pretty much a period piece, and they did a really good picking the music for it. So, comparison.
Okay. Go, then I'll tell you.
Very similar. A few things that I did notice. There's when Tom comes home, his mom is not the first one in the book to notice him.
No.
It's his dad and his uncle. They're the first ones to see him. And they're like, should we scare your mom or should we surprise her? And then he goes in and his mom sees him and everything. Another thing is there's no dogs. Like, have dogs in the book with them, and they take one of the dogs, and then the other dogs will, like, run off, and they're like, just let them be wild dogs now. But they take one of the dogs with them, and it's kind of, this is literally, like, the only part that made me sad in the book is the dog died.
Yeah.
He got hit by a car.
I'm saying there's a lot of death in that book.
There is, but this is the only one that made me sad. I care about animals.
I was like,
I care about people.
I'm like,
but
you
so
know about the end part.
Yeah, there is no dogs.
Nope.
And then the Wilsons, they do travel with another family for a little bit.
Yes, they
named
do.
the Wilsons, and they're not anywhere in the book, or I mean, anywhere in the movie. They're in the book with them for a while,
but not in the movie.
Yeah, but they're not in with the movie. Noah, he just kind of disappears in the movie.
Yeah, and in the book it says that he's like, I'm just gonna stay by the river.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mention at all in the movie, but in the book, Noah's more of a.
He's a little bit slower.
Yes, and that's actually a recurring theme in Steinbeck books, actually.
Yeah.
It is.
Because of Mice and Men.
Yes, has that too.
Because this book was really weird. It was like chapter where it's actually about specific people and specific things that are happening, and then the next chapter is like just a general overview, and I'm like, okay, that was interesting for like the first 5 chapters. Now I'm bored, and you're saying the same thing over and over and over.
Yes.
And it's really pissing me off.
Yes. And it doesn't say this at all in the movie. Really? What happens at the end of the book?
Yeah, you need to say that because I didn't get to it.
So.
Does everybody die?
No.
Kids
so
die?
we know that Rosa Sharon is pregnant.
Yes.
At the very end of the book, she gives birth. But she gives birth to a stillborn child.
Oh, yeah, and she was worried about that the whole time.
Stillborn. And they are, like, at this other place, and there's this man who's, like, dying. And she's like, I'll let him use my breast milk to, save him.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's really what happens near the end of the book. And you're like, you think, it's going to be, this book is super freaking depressing. And you're like, okay, there's going to be a baby at the end. That'll be nice. No.
Well, I was kind of figuring something would happen to the baby because he was making such a point. Like, there's a lot of foreshadowing towards that baby because there's the lady that comes up to her at the government camp and is telling her this and that about how if you do this, your baby is not going to, like, something's going to happen to your baby and all this. He was making such a point about the baby that you get that feeling that something is going to happen to the baby.
I was pissed. So, I was like, maybe is there going to be something happy at the end? No.
It makes sense. And I get why they didn't put it in the movie.
I was pissed.
Especially because this movie came out in 1940, which isn't that long after the Depression. I understand why they didn't put it in.
I was pissed.
I believe it.
I was like, this is the most depressing book I've ever read.
Now that
I'm like, why?
Now that
why?
Now that you've said what it is, I can see it coming with what I've read. And there's foreshadowing for it.
I'm still pissed about it.
Yeah, I can tell.
This has been years since I've read this book, and I'm still pissed.
So, I don't think there's really much else. Oh, the book, they go to the government camp first, then the farm.
Yeah.
Whereas in the movie, they go to the farm first, then the government camp.
That's just a switching of things.
Yeah. So trivia. Got any?
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, so I limited myself to only like 3 of them. So, the author was, Steinbeck is still around at this time, and he loved the movie so much that he loved it, and he said, Henry Fonda, he's like, you made me believe my own words with Tom. Like, you are Tom Joad.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job.
Like, when I saw this, I was like, okay, you're definitely who I thought of when I pictured Tom. The director banned all makeup and perfume on the set, so there's no makeup at all. No perfume.
It makes sense. Just go throw some dirt on them, and then they look like they're supposed to
Yeah,
look.
it's supposed to keep with the tone of the picture.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my last one. So the producer... he sent out undercover investigators to check out how these camps were, because he's seen if Steinbeck was just exaggerating, but he was horrified when he found out how it really was, because Steinbeck actually downplayed it, how bad it is.
It's a lot worse.
It's a lot worse. Which I'm like, I can see why he would want to downplay it a little bit. And this book is not liked at all in California. Like, at all. Like,
Well,
it's been banned in there.
I can see why, because it shows that California was, like, big, huge assholes to the rest of the country. Like, the rest of the country was pretty much dying, and they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they barely got the book in Steinbeck's, like, hometown in California in, like, 1990.
Thing.
Yeah. And this book came out, what?
It was in the 1930s it came out.
Yeah. So what is that, like 60 years later?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it still banned?
I think in some parts still.
Dang. And I mean, it's part of history, so I don't understand. I mean,
people don't like to see their own ugly side of history.
Yeah,
this is a very
true.
common theme.
Yeah, that's why our history books are biased.
Yes. We don't get both sides.
They play us up to be a great country. I'm not saying that we're not great. I mean, I like my country, but I mean, I know we've done some horrible things.
Oh, yeah. It's like...
Everyone has done bad things, and they don't want to hear about it.
Exactly.
So where it has been on the list before, it started out, well, not started out, but in 2010 it was number 158. 2012 it was number 159. 2014, 189. 2016 it was number 215. And then as of today, when we are recording, it is number 220. So it's kind of been dropping, which I can understand. People aren't big into black and white movies.
No. It irritates me. It does.
This isn't a great movie. I understand it is a classic, and it will always be a classic.
It is. We'll give it that. It's definitely a classic film that, I mean, give it a chance. We gave it a chance.
Yeah, but you get into people watching movies now, and they want something exciting. This is not exciting.
Not really. Again, it's a period piece.
Yeah.
So it's really about how the Great Depression was.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't even give you the full view of the Great Depression.
Oh,
it just gives
just
you
a little bit of it.
A piece of it.
Yeah.
And people aren't looking for that. When they're watching movies, they're looking for something specific. And this is not.
They want to be,
thing.
like, entertained and just, like, not think for, like, 2 hours.
Yeah. And period pieces definitely do make you think and think about what it is that was happening at that time when this movie is based in.
Yes. Agreed.
So, previously, number 221 on the list, to the 2010 list, Mystic River from 2003. The 2012 list, In the Name of the Father from 1993, which is on our list.
Yes.
And I think the sequel of it, In the Name of the Son, or something like that. There's a sequel to that, which is on the list as well.
Huh.
The 2014 list, The Night of the Hunter from 1955. The 2016 list, Rocky from 1976, which is coming up.
It is.
And then now, number 221, The Maltese Falcon, which is coming up as well.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's where everything has been on the list before, or where it is now. Favorite line. I've got a few.
Yeah, I have a few too.
I liked how Tom said homicide. Home-aside.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Like, why are you saying it like that? I was puzzled why you were saying it like that.
So I wrote that down. It's not really a line. I just liked how you said it.
Yeah.
The preacher, Jim. I got nothing to preach about no more. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I just don't know who's to blame. I think that's a big point of this movie, is they don't know who to blame for this. Like, they don't know what's happening. Like, no one knows what's happening in the Great Depression. And that is, the guy that's driving the tractor that's about to run over Muley's house. He says that. He's like, I just don't know who's to blame. When Grandpa doesn't want to come, they ask him, well, what about Grandma? Take her with you. I liked that. Sometimes the government's got more interest in a dead man than a live one.
Yeah.
Which is pretty true. Even today, it's still kind of true. Bert, look, truck drivers. At the camp, not the camp, at the farm where they're working, they keep continuously asking Tom his name. Name. And they go, name, still Joad.
You're just getting irritated.
Yeah. I got 2 more.
Okay.
Swing that pretty girl round when they're dancing. the commentator. For some reason, like old-timey dances like that, I just love their commentary during it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. A woman can change better than a man. That's my last one.
You just took like half my lines.
I'm sorry.
One of them, it's a couple of them. So, it's Mom talking to Grandma. And it's right before they cross over. She's still, like, alive and everything. She's like, look, Grandma, there's California. And Grandma just spits.
Yeah.
That just cracked me up. I'm like, that reminds me of my grandmother passed away last year. So whenever someone would mention, like, this rival town, which is right next to her old hometown, she would spit. She would spit,
Raspberry.
literally. She like, even if she had to say it, she would spit afterwards. I'm like, geez, Grandma. So that's what reminded me of that.
That's funny.
When Grandma's sick and she's dying, she's like, I want Grandpa.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that hurt. Then I got one more. It's Ma, and she's like, we're cracking up, Tom. We're no family anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my good lines. One of my favorites, but...
Oh, I did write down that raspberry, the one where she goes...
She's like,
Yeah, I did write that one down. It's just kind of over to the side. That's okay. You can have it.
that works. Okay, so those are mine.
I think if I had to narrow it down to 2, I got Nothing to Preach About No More, and then the name Still Joad. Because you got one that kind of encompasses the whole movie, and then one that's just like a little bit of humor.
I like Ma Joad's line, a woman can change better than a man.
Yeah, I do like that one a lot.
And then the family one, too. Those are my 2 that I like.
Let's do a woman can change better than a man.
I like it. She's just trying to say that, I guess, women are just more flexible to change.
Yeah.
Which I can see.
Alrighty. So, our rating. You want to go first or me go first?
A 4.
4?
I gave mine a 4. I just, like I said before with the initial thoughts, I'm like, it dragged. It dragged for me. This is over 2 hours long, and I'm just like, it could have been way shorter.
Yeah.
It could have been an hour and a half. Yeah, it just felt like it dragged.
Yeah.
And that's what took away from me. Plus, it's not the happiest film ever.
No.
I mean, I like the ending of this film, where it's kind of, like, hopeful, and that's not how the book ends, like, at all, so that's why it's not lower.
Yeah.
So I gave it just a 4. It could have been much lower, but since the end was, like, okay, kind of hopeful, better than the book, so that's why I got a little more stars than it would have.
Yeah. I gave it a 5. I mean, like I said earlier, it's not horrible, but it's not great. I probably will never watch it again.
I know.
They did have some entertaining parts, and it was educational, but that's not what I'm looking for in a movie. I'm not looking to be educated.
No.
Well, I mean, like I said before, most people are looking to be entertained.
They just want to be entertained.
Movie.
Don't think for like 2 hours, just...
Like, if I want to think about something, then I'll go do something else. Like, read a book.
I was like, it just depends for me, it depends on the type of film. If I'm going to be watching, like, a period piece, something like this.
Yeah. But I'm not big on period pieces, so I think that's part of the reason I gave it such a low score. Yeah. Because the same with Barry Lyndon, that was a period piece as well, and I just...
Well, I just don't like Ryan O'Neal's acting, but that's me.
I just don't really like period pieces.
And that one was freaking long.
There's a few, I would say, period pieces that give a little bit more of an entertainment factor, but I'm not big on them. So.
No.
Yeah, this one's a 5 for me. Got that in IMDb. My rating is in. So our next film is The Knights of Cabiria, or, I wrote it down, La Notte de Cabiria.
I think
in Italian.
so. Yeah, it's Italian.
La Notte di Cabiria, I think. It is in Italian. It is in black and white. And it will be our next film coming out next week.
For number 220.
Yes. So we do offer premium. If you do choose to pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release episodes, and then a special monthly episode, which we try to get out every month, but the past 2 months we've been having some issues. But the December one will be in December.
These issues are really out of our control too, because we don't expect them.
Yes.
So,
both,
I mean,
and it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just Jess. It was actually both of us had a different issue.
Yeah. That
we didn't get our October and November episodes out on time, but the December one will be out on time.
Yes, it will.
Woo! So you can get all of that for $1 a month. If you pay $5 a month, you will be able to get all of that, and then also you can come join us for a few episodes. You will get to pick a movie of your choice every 50 episodes. So if you get there in time, you get a total of 5 movies that you join us for. In our monthly special episode this month, for December, we will be watching The Prince of Egypt, which is one of my movies that I believe should be on the top 250 that isn't.
Yep.
We're going to try and contain me.
I will try to contain her, but we'll see what happens.
There's a possibility it will be a long one. Also, with these episodes, with the monthly special episodes, we do put them up for $1 a month. Or not $1 a month, just $1. So if you just want to listen to one specific episode, like say you want to listen to The Prince of Egypt, it will be available for just $1. If that's all you want to listen to, you don't want to get all those special benefits, you can just pay the $1 for that specific episode. Yeah. So contest. We are still running our contest.
Yes.
If you leave a positive written review, 1 out of every 10 that leaves a positive written review will be selected, randomly selected to come join us for an episode of their choice. So make sure you leave us a review.
Yes, and tell us that you leave a review by messaging us, emailing us.
Yes, please.
So we know it's there.
Been pretty busy. I've only been able to look at it once in the past few weeks.
It's December, and I'm a music teacher. So, I'm super crazy busy.
It's December, and I work 2 jobs.
There you go.
So, yeah. Please leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. So, where to find us?
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at CatandJessTalkTheBest. Our email is catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail, and our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
Yes, and feel free to contact us. Share share the link wherever you get the show from. If you do iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, just let your friends know. Every episode will be on Podbean.
Yes.
So I don't know how many all of these other places allow you to keep, but Podbean, all of our episodes are going to be there. So make sure you share the show, get some other people listening. The opening music that we have, or any of our music actually, is by Audio Binger. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net.
He's got good music. Check it out.
Mm-hmm. He does. And he lets you use it. He doesn't care. He just wants to get it out there. So check him out. And I think that's all we've got for today.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.